50 fucking seconds of celestially themed logos.
Everyone was warned, but no one listened.
So we will keep making weather disaster films until you listen, Congress! Also narration, and also blatant exposition. Okay, movie, are you just gonna write this shit for us? What, will there later be some asshole graduating from the Prometheus school of running away from things while eating an apple and not getting a lap dance?
A rise in temperature, ocean patterns changed, and ice caps melted.
Leading to what I can only assume is an inconvenient geostorm.
Floods and droughts.
Sounds like we just need to take the floods where there are droughts, and droughts where there are floods. Then they'll cancel each other out. You're welcome, planet Earth!
The East River swallowed Lower Manhattan.
But we could only provide this found footage style reenactment, because Dean Devlin's got to spend the majority of his Geostorm budget on the Geostorm and Gerard Butler's half-beard oil.
A heat wave killed 2 million people in Madrid in just one day.
Wait, did 2 million people not know how f***ing hot it was outside? Or did this heat wave arrive suddenly out of nowhere, like a shark attack?
The world came together as one.
Man, I had no idea that Geostorm was part of the Bill and Ted's Expanded Universe. What year was God Gave Rock and Roll to You broadcast to the universe? I always get the timelines confused.
They gave the satellite net a technical name, but we all came to call it Dutch Boy, after the story of the child who plugged a dam with his finger.
Someone pitched Sean Connery's character Sir August de Winter from the 1998 Avengers movie, but it was discovered in 2019 that that movie was even more obscure than the Hans Brinker novels, so Dutch Boy won. Also, this is apparently a sophisticated yada yada net that does blah 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 and controls the weather with a dun 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 series of thingamabobs. So how is that equivalent to sticking your finger in a dike?
And it was built by a team led by one man.
And that man's name was Geostorm.
Tornado, zap, blizzard, zap.
You know what would have made a way more awesome movie? This guy creating Dutch Boy and showing us his invention zapping tornadoes and blizzards. But sure, let's make this about when Dutch boys go wrong.
May the record reflect that he was nearly 1 hour late.
And why does it matter? Nobody knows. No one will ever speak of it again.
Then there was the incident where you punched a federal inspector in the face.
I hate how this movie begins for a variety of reasons, and hearing about what a dick Jake is before we even get to the amazing part of his invention is one. And despite the fact that I believe our government is useless, I find it hard to believe they'd be such hardasses to the guy who saved the world.
There were a series of storms building in Southeast Asia and the North Atlantic that would have killed tens of thousands of people.
That sounds low, considering that heat waves were killing 2 million people in Madrid alone.
But hey, what are you good at, little brother, huh?
Jake helpfully verbally identifies Max as his little brother within the first minute of dialogue, because this is a stupid action movie that doesn't have time for shit. Subtlety is for art house movies like Avengers Infinity War.
I told you, this had to go well and it didn't.
Is that all you told him? Because how to talk to senators and don't insult the senators might have been a good conversation to have. If they can control the weather so expertly, why are there even wide swaths of desert anymore? Are there still water shortages in Africa? Are there no storms at all? Is movie interested in explaining any of this? We find out later that this was some sort of malfunction on Dutch Boy that caused this. But again, much like the heat wave that killed 2 million people in Madrid, I've got to wonder how this happened so quickly that people are frozen instantly. There's not even anyone running or looking up to the sky because it happened that fast. And what about the surrounding heat? How does a satellite block the sun from hitting this spot?
Fan out.
Yeah, no need to check on these guys to see if there's any sign of life, even though this is clearly a freak anomaly.
UN recon team found it, Mr. President.
I'm convinced that at this stage in his career, Andy Garcia is only agreeing to roles that feature less than 5 total minutes of screen time.
But with this many people in the loop, I'm not sure how long it's going to keep.
Ah, sudden Christoph. Also, seriously, these two acting legends finally share a movie and it's fucking Geostorm.
I will not be the president that hands over damaged goods.
Andy Garcia is the president that we deserve, but he's not the one we need right now.
17 countries had teams working on Dutch Boy. They all reported to him. Nobody knows what's under the hood better than him.
Manipul exposition. No one will be seated during the International Space Station replaces the Afghanistan satellite scene. What's this bullshit? If Starship Troopers taught me anything, it was that in the future there would be unisex locker rooms. I feel so deceived.
Hannah, I thought I told you not to talk to strangers.
Even at 13, Hannah can clearly understand how fucking hokey this dialogue is. Government authority figure has to track down the one person who can do the job, but he's living in a shack in Florida and working on a vintage car cliché.
Dutch Boy was all you ever gave a damn about.
The perils of calling your movie tech Dutch Boy is that it requires actors to repeatedly say Dutch Boy.
You don't care. Well, then what are you doing living out here?
Damn, that's a convenient-ass rocket launch. Hang on, not only is this 2022, but this workstation is in what has to be one of the most technologically advanced buildings in the world, and they still use landlines that look like they're from 1996.
You don't really do much parenting.
Oh boy, a bad father. Looks like you've got some Emmerich in my Devlin. Of course, it's very possible the bad father thing was always Devlin, but I just want to blame Roland Emmerich for everything.
Think of it like I'm going on a vacation for a week or two.
This movie's discount Interstellar. It's the same problem. Earth has a shitty environment, and a really smart little girl's dad has to go into space to make it all better. I hope we get to see crying Gerard Butler later. In the not-so-distant future, next Sunday AD, the US has enough money for 30 launching pads with their own dedicated rocket. At what point does any country need this many rockets on call, even if they have a complex weather-controlling gadget in space?
Have a safe trip, sir.
And holy shit, Jake's the only asshole flying the ship? Couldn't they have scheduled this when the other rocket was flying to space a minute ago? Or is this just a luxury you can afford when you have 117 rockets lying around? Oh yeah, this reminds me. Is Jake's body even ready to go to space after 3 years of beer swilling and bad parenting? Okay, up until now, the effects have been surprisingly passable, but this shot looks like it belongs on a Saturday morning cartoon show on the CW.
Look at you, girl. Living and breathing.
Sure, it sounds all cool coming out of Gerard Butler's mouth, but I get slapped with a restraining order when I say this to my college girlfriend while I thought she was sleeping.
So maybe I need to speak to your chief scientist about the fine art of giving a shit.
I'm the chief scientist. I've been promoted a year ago.
Here's bad movie logic for you. Jake is approached by his brother Max to go back to the place he was fired from. Before we know it, he's on a ship by himself flying to that place. And now he's talking to the chief scientist, but was never briefed on what's changed or who's in charge.
Oh, of course. An American.
Actually, my brother and I were born in the UK.
This line was definitely inserted to explain Gerard Butler's dialect in this movie after it was screened. Okay, maybe not definitely, but you would totally believe that, wouldn't you?
You are?
This is Mr. Jake Lawson.
And he might be one of the most famous men in the world after he saved it, so it's really strange that people like you who work on Dutch Boy don't know who he is. Max jumps into bed unshaven with rumpled hair and a wrinkled t-shirt, while Sarah is posing perfectly on the bed with her nightgown cleavage just so, and not a hair out of place. But they both equally want to right now.
You can create something
Far worse than the very thing we're trying to prevent.
what we call a geostorm.
Wait, what was that?
A geostorm.
Aha! Roll those credits! Also, how the would Max have never heard about this possibility? He runs the goddamn department that handles this
POTUS called a last-minute press briefing.
Well, you can't stay.
Despite getting the warning from Cheng, seeing the destruction on TV, and being informed of an emergency meeting called by the president, Max is still in full-on flirtation mode, proving once again that the power of boners is greater than the power of geostorms.
That's my fave, actually. I call it a rock and roller.
I prefer to call it Nim's Island, or The Ugly Truth, since we're obviously just calling things by Gerard Butler movie titles now.
It looks like bad server relay or trunk failure.
Man, for a movie about a catastrophic weather event, there is a lot of computer porn.
Tell no one.
Yeah, especially since I'm brazenly waving my little secret access thingy and having this discussion in a completely open environment. Oh, f*** you with this hologram screen. How is this better? Hey guys, I want a machine that controls the weather around the world. And also, I want a giant hallway-filling hologram screen so that I can talk to Earth while looking at a blurry, glitchy image.
Actually, you'll be reporting to Max here. Good luck. Have at it.
So, what was the purpose of this urgent call? Just to tell Jake that his brother's in charge? How does he not already know this? Just because he wanted it to be someone else?
Just 1 week after Mom and Dad died, you got arrested for fighting.
Expositional arguing.
But if you ever authorize anything without my approval, then we are on the next shuttle home.
And we'll all be dead because of Geostorm, but I will have taught you a goddamn lesson. You, movie. If you're going to show me that the satellite is this big and is about to ram into these people in this shot, don't tell me it's this far away in the next shot. Did this walkway double in size between cuts? Granted, I've never spaced before, but it is a vacuum, right? After the first panel blew, shouldn't this dude have been sucked out of that opening? Or does space have a dramatic sense of timing? It was terrific in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Step across the gravity threshold.
Why does this spacewalk require the two most important people in the Dutch Boy operation? Why can't this be some designated maintenance people? Especially since the world has so much money to run this and shuttle people back and forth daily.
Let's just get the panel, see what's on those drives.
I'm stating the exact mission that you just told us 30 seconds ago in case anyone has that memento condition in the theater. Also, it's absolutely totally f***ing amazing that no one's bothered to get this panel until now. This happened a week ago. Jake's known for some time that someone's sabotaging everything on Dutch Boy. He suspected it before he boarded. He got confirmation from his brother and got first-hand experience with it when the satellite went haywire. At this point, I don't know why he trusts anyone, and every mission should be taken with the idea that someone doesn't want him to figure out what the evil plan is. Man, I think they were going for the terror of gravity, but ended up with the comedy of the Three Stooges in orbit.
Why didn't you tell them about the drive?
Because someone just tried to kill me.
Yeah, but why did you tell her about it? Oh, it's because she's pretty. She can't be evil. Got it.
You've been locked out.
What the hell does this movie want to be? Sci-fi thriller? Apocalyptic effects fest? A geopolitical whodunit? Make up your goddamn mind movie? Feels like Jim Sturgis is just using this movie as an excuse to try out different hairstyles. Oh, come on. If this guy's been tracking Chang the whole time from Hong Kong to Washington, he could have killed this dude in so many other ways and privately.
This is Agent Wilson. Yes, I need an ambulance right now.
Did Sarah have to identify herself as an agent? Can't she just call 911? Abby Cornish, T-1000.
Of course, Dad was a government spy his whole life. Caught me red-handed.
It really is incredible to hear Gerard Butler's American and Scottish accents battle each other in real time.
Your cell phone number is the key.
1999.
Proof of sabotage. highest level of government. Trust no one.
Even if I allow Jake memorizing this fake phishing story down to the precise word so that his brother could crack it using their dad's old cell phone number, I find it a little hard to believe that the software they're using could figure out stuff like red-handed, or no one, being one word, and keeping the count right for easy deciphering. And even if I'm wrong about that, then I'll bring up a real nitpick. How this video is in no way how Gerard Butler performed it in the movie a minute ago, so I'm sinning something about this, goddammit. Sure, don't tell your naturally suspicious Secret Service girlfriend that you're bringing a stranger to the house tonight. That can't ever end badly.
I can explain everything.
That sounds really pervy.
What? What about that statement is pervy? I mean, if he had said, I was f***ing her s***ing while wearing your s***ing, s***ing my own and f***ing off the d*** who was s***ing off the now that would be pervy.
And you know that it's bigger than you and me.
You and I. Shut up.
Indeed, shut up. It is you and me. The easiest way to know is to take the you and out of the sentence and see if it holds up. Look, being a grammar Nazi can be bad, but being an incorrect grammar Nazi? And I'm not saying this because the actress is German either, so get that out of your head.
Whoever did that killed Mahmoud.
And what makes you think it is not me?
These are things completely innocent people with guns say.
Bingo.
Looks more like a dildo to me, but I get those words confused sometimes too. It really gets them riled up on Tuesday nights at the assisted living center.
A geostorm, and unlike anything we've ever seen.
Have you seen other geostorms? Sure, no one in the Secret Service is going to care if you leave your post with the president in sight to go talk to someone everyone knows is your boyfriend. I've got this, Sarah. Keeping the president safe doesn't require a team effort.
Jake needs us to steal the kill codes from Palm.
At least 70% of this movie is people imploring other people to do things to even other people. Jesus, people, just yell Geostorm and everyone will understand.
I can steal the codes while he's in the shower.
Awesome. I was wondering if we'd make it through this slog without at least a little Andy Garcia skin.
We've lost all control of the Tokyo satellite.
Because it's the one city that Roland Emmerich hasn't destroyed on film, and Dean Devlin has got to get his nut on without using sloppy seconds.
Max, I didn't know you were coming to the convention.
I know Max is high-level State Department, but this is Air Force One, and he's not on the manifest. Do they let unexpected employees just tag along on an impromptu basis? By God, if there's not a helicopter shot of the Christ the Redeemer statue getting blowed the f*** up in this scene, I'm gonna f***ing riot. Just under a minute ago, we already saw ice crashing into the beaches of Rio. So why is it still only this far inland when we go back to it? Dominic Toretto should be frozen solid racing for pink slips against a gang leader by now. He gets frozen a quarter mile at a time, man. I love how they set up this one hot chick as the one person we should care about during this Rio country tropical freeze. Like, literally the only character trait that she has is that she's in a bikini and she's hot. And we saw her boyfriend get frozen a minute ago, so we're planning on moving in on that later. Well, damn. We had a good streak there, but there goes HBO again. I know what you're saying, but Jeremy, this is a malfunctioning weather satellite, and I say that's what I call HBO when it's not playing new episodes of Game of Thrones, goddammit.
Time to Geostorm. 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Unfortunately, no one watching this movie was given the same warning, and many tens of people died. This is supposed to be a sophisticated system, right? Like, shouldn't it be giving latitude and longitude coordinates instead of the metropolitan city name? It's gonna hit only within the city limits of Orlando next?
I know everything about you. Your father's death. Why'd you lie to me?
More importantly, why didn't you say anything about it until now?
I gotta tell you something, come here.
Max violates movie rule 182, which is never share info with Ed Harris when you need someone you can trust.
And I need the president's kill code. We gotta shut Dutch Boy down now.
Apparently, the only character trait listed for Max was constantly out of breath. Also, if Max trusts Jackson Pollock, why doesn't he immediately tell him about the impending storm that's headed directly toward them?
President is the kill code. Biometrics.
Wait, they entrusted the entirety of the global weather regulation to one person? I mean, I know they pretty much do that for nukes, but this seems like even more of a stupid plan. Also, this seems like a very sensitive discussion to be having in the middle of a crowded convention hall with dozens of civilians and press hanging around.
If we lose the station, we won't be able to control the satellites.
Thanks, unimportant character who shouts things. I thought there might be a way to control the satellites without the station, but you've set me straight.
Where's Duncan? He's the only one with enough programming expertise to override the commands.
Duncan.
Dun dun dun! Like, why you didn't write out a list of the most obvious suspects in this whole thing is beyond me. Could have figured this shit out in like a couple hours, probably.
Come on, man, why'd you do it?
You know what us lowly scientists get paid?
This guy has no problem killing fools left and right, but now, at this critical moment, sure, why not lay out your motivations before capping Olympus Has Fallen here? Also, earlier they ruled out the French guy because Jake figured he'd have been dead already if it was him. So why is that not true for the British guy? Oh wait, I remember this in A Tale of Two Cities somewhere. Something about French guys kill you instantly, British guys let you live and tell you the plan before they attempt to kill you. I think Charles Darnay says that.
Are you a little bit curious to watch the world burn?
You know, I've heard a lot of Michael Caine impressions, and this is the worst one. Yep, even though the satellite is blowing up and the geostorm is imminent, and the world is in peril, and President Garcia's in the middle of a dope speech at the DNC, we've got time for an orbital fistfight.
Project Zeus. Did Chang tell you anything else?
Man, this is some ham-handed from Deckham here, bringing up Chang's name. He has Max all to himself, and all he's got to do is get him behind closed doors and end this motherfucker. But instead, he gives away that he's the bad guy, as if being Ed Harris wasn't enough.
Where have you been?
Leaving her post again. How is Sarah not fired already?
Kidnap the president. That sounds like the reasonable move.
Well, it's the only move we've got.
Between the whispered, breathless dialogue and the bonkers political abduction strategy, you could easily convince me this was an episode of 24. Man, sure seemed like a good idea, but Sarah took out at least 4 good lighting guys. Wait, how did Jake catch up to the entire crew? He ordered the evac like 10 minutes ago, and had the confrontation and the fistfight with anonymous British guy number 1, so he should be way behind everyone.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. You need to come with me.
I swear to God that I've seen Abby Cornish actually act, but the effects of Geostorm are apparently far too strong. Man, it's like those little wooden lift gates don't do anything to deter rogue agents that kidnap the president. Suddenly, the Koch brothers just got unexpected simultaneous erections. God damn it, does every one of these disaster movies have to have a lost dog subplot? It's like we care if the one dog gets saved, but we forget about the millions already dead from this shit. By the way, I'm lumping in all the in case you confused it with sins here, because this movie has so many it's worse than a Bourne movie. But in case you confused it with Moscow, New Hampshire. And 10 sins more for me, please.
Having my brother and I lead the investigation was a setup from the start. Think about it. He hired us to fail.
Why hire anybody except people he could control? He put a mole on Dutch Boy, and while that sounds dirty, that's what he did. He had people inside the Secret Service working for him. Why not hire Jim Joe Bob Benedict Arnold, a guy with a degree in science from State College? This is a super shitty f***ing plan. As if the John Cusack drives a car through buildings while avoiding crashing overpasses scene in 2012 wasn't enough, Dean Devlin reaches down deep and works up the courage to do a miniature version for this movie.
We need to go. We haven't heard from him in hours.
I trust him.
Who gives a shit about trusting him? The man might be dead or unconscious or having sex with Abby Cornish. All these things would prevent him from making the call.
You have to insert it manually at the core of the mainframe.
I mean, it's not my type of dirty talk, but whatever gets you going.
I'll be the sole survivor, ready to be sworn in as the next president of the United States.
I'm just wondering, what was Deckham's plan before Max told him he knew something was up? I guess he was just going to slip out of the arena at the right time, but why wasn't he already gone before that? The storm began well before Deckham confronted Max about lying about why he came to Orlando, and not long after that, the arena exploded.
Fire!
I mean, I know it's a geostorm and everything, but if this storm does blow over, wouldn't there be an investigation into the massive rocket launcher attack that ultimately killed the president? Wouldn't there be at least an Oliver Stone movie about it?
How in hell did you...
How? Because I'm the goddamn president of the United States of America.
Well, that, and he had 2 people go absolutely rogue and kidnap him away from danger. But yeah, President, America!
You're done, Leonard.
What? Where did all these assholes come from? And even though this is the president and all, shouldn't all the rescue personnel be helping the entire city of Orlando? Didn't the f***ing Moxley Center blow up with all the Democrats?
I'm turning the clock back to 1945 when America was a shining city on a hill.
MAGA.
Yeah, well, you know what my brother would say?
What?
Yeah, he was a dick, but we only realized he was a dick 17 minutes ago. This punch isn't earned. This isn't something that's been building the whole movie. Oh yeah, even though the bad guy was already caught, we've got several more minutes of geostorming, since the movie neglected to geostorm for most of its runtime. The day after Tomorrow 3, Tomorrow Never Dies.
The station self-destruct can't be reversed.
Well, it can't, but the only guy who could override it, he got sucked into a vacuum of space. We really should have hired more IT guys. Why do some of the satellites send out storms, but some of them get all star-killery?
Need a hand?
Damn, Uta. I know all that talk about the manual insertion into the mainframe got you revved up before, but now's not the time.
What are you doing here?
I told you, I live here.
Sure, but what have you been doing the whole time? As soon as the last shuttle left, you could have been like, here I am, bitch. But instead, you hung around doing nothing until springing your surprise at the last minute. It should come as no surprise, but this countdown clock is total bullshit. Anyone who relies on this asshole is an asshole.
Best seat in the house.
You. Look, you can show all these explosions around the satellite all you want, but if Jake and Uta escape this, then you are lying! So that's it? Are we done geostorming? Jeez, I never knew how much I'd miss it.
Thank the Mexican.
That's racist. Wait, even the flooding water decided, F it, let's not flood this city anymore, let's go home. Because that's what flooding water does. It's tough, but fair.
On the station.
Wait, why is it still storming in Atlanta? I thought the storms were over, even the geo kind.
You can't undo the past.
They set up this girl to be more than a bookend narrator and daughter who's worried about her dad the whole movie, but they didn't. Pity. What a waste. And she's right. We can't undo the past.
Satellite. Riders on the storm.
Everyone was warned, but no one listened.
We didn't listen! We didn't listen!
Excuse me, I'm not asking for your input.
Your commando must cross that field, put his head between his legs, and kiss his own arse.
Let it go, let it go. I am one with the wind and sky.
trust no one.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride.
Houston, we have a problem.